Welcome back to the vlog today, guys. Thanks again for joining us. And it's been a while since we've done a standalone mental health vlog. And I just feel we had a lot of good positive reception from our mental health videos before, and we felt like it was due for another one. And something recently happened where we feel like we want to share it with you. So let's get started. So I'm gonna frame up the scenario, and then Kristen's gonna tell it from her perspective, and I'm gonna tell it from my perspective. And the point of this is to sort of give you an inside look on sort of our life and how we deal with it, because obviously we're not doctors, but this is just sort of, hopefully can help maybe somebody out there out. This is your first time watching the videos. Kristen has...
I have obsessive compulsive disorder and major depressive disorder.
So she often, not often, but she will get panic attacks from time to time, and we've been married for 3 years and I'm still learning more and more about her. And this particular story that I'm gonna share is important because this was like the first time I had an aha moment with her panic attacks and anxiety. So, all right, basically we carpool a lot because we both work in the same town. And she had recently cleaned out both of our vehicles. Which was very nice. Yes, it was nice. And I got in my vehicle to leave, and we were driving separate that day, and I couldn't find the garage door opener. And spoiler alert, it was in my car. I didn't look hard enough. But I was rushing, and she has been known to misplace things in the past, but I was like, I can't find the garage door opener. What'd you do with it? What'd you do with it? Oh, I'm gonna be late.
Getting frustrated, which is natural.
I was getting like, oh, I'm gonna be late. I can't find it. What did you do with it? Where did you? Because I knew she cleaned out the car, and I was like, where'd you put it? Do you have it? I don't know. And she was like racing around trying to find it. She's like, are you sure it's not in your car? She looked all in her car. She looked all inside.
And even dumped out a trash can.
Yeah, it was pretty. But basically, she was. It was a certain point where I realized, wow, I think she might be having a panic attack right now. And what made me realize that was she was like breathing heavily, and like I could just tell she was getting very frustrated, and physically I could tell that like she was like clamping up. And as soon as I realized that I think what she was having, what I found out later, was actually a panic attack, I decided to handle the situation differently. I rolled down the window and I said, hey, don't worry about it. Just leave the front door unlocked, no worries. And I was pulling out of the driveway. I was a few miles down the road at a stop sign and actually found it in the center console. Anyway, I called her immediately and said, hey, I'm so sorry I got upset. I found it. It was my fault. I should have. And she let me know that she was actually like in the middle of a panic attack.
I told him I can't talk right now because I had to, and you said, do what you have to do to help calm yourself so we can talk. And so I hung up the phone, and I actually did one of your yoga poses that I was talking to you about. That I did an inverted pose where I just sat up against the wall, and I leaned my legs against the wall so they're standing up straight along the wall to release some of that tension and some of that blood flow rushed away from my head, where my head was really like busy. And yeah, she called me back after she had calmed herself down. And then we sort of just talked through it, and she shared with me that she had a panic attack. And then we had a quick conversation about how I am gonna start looking out for that more. And because when someone's having a panic attack versus when they're not, how you interact with them is completely different. So if I know she's having a panic attack, then I'm gonna lay off, or I'm going to say, hey, let's talk about this in a little bit after you're calmed down. And so to sort of make a segue point now, because I'm always going to speak from the perspective of somebody who is living with someone with a mental illness. And if you're living with somebody with any mental illness, it's very important that you learn about them personally, about what sets them off, about potential triggers, about how to communicate with that person if they are experiencing a panic attack, or if they're having a manic episode, if they're bipolar, or a depressive episode. If they're really high, how do you deal with it? If they're really low, how do you deal with it? How can you communicate to them? Because if you're living with someone with a mental illness, if you're married to somebody, or if that's your child, or your or brother or cousin or
friend, you're like, it doesn't go away. Like that's part of who they are. So if you're living with somebody, for example, with bipolar, you just have to accept the fact that there's going to be roller coasters, high days and low days, and it's going to go like this. And you have to learn how to get through those low days. If they just need to come home from work and sort of just go to sleep, hey, let them do it, right? Like you can't, you just have to, that's part of who they are. Communicating with the person in your life that has the mental illness you know, is super important, and especially realizing if they're in the middle of something. You know, I feel like a lot of times, a lot of the problems that arise from individuals that are living with people with a mental illness is not understanding it, for one, not understanding the mental illness. Do your research, like find out about it more, and know that there's not really a cure for mental illness. It's just how to manage it, and that takes more than one person. It's not just up to the person with the mental illness.
Right.
It's everybody else too.
Yeah, and often like it takes more than just family. Like it's good to have that care team set up, whether you see a counselor or a psychiatrist or a family doctor. So for example, when somebody's depressed, for example, my recent depression started after the miscarriage, and that was really rough. And for myself, I was like very like painful, and the shame and the guilt and all those feelings, it made me want to like not tell anybody and like stay inside of myself. But really what was helpful, and I think what's helpful to a lot of people, is when they're feeling that way, to find somebody they can talk to. Now I didn't, you know, end up talking to Kyle, which is good, but I also had probably some of the helpful experiences with talking to somebody, an outside person, like some friends. I actually talked to a counselor at my job, and it was really helpful to like have somebody listen to my perspective and validate like how I'm feeling, but also help to encourage me.
Validating the other person's feelings is very important. Even if you disagree with them. So for example, this is never helpful to say, oh, you shouldn't feel like that, because you can't tell me how to feel. So don't ever invalidate their feelings. This is just a general life rule. It doesn't have to do with mental health. No matter what someone's feeling, it's valid. So don't say, oh, you shouldn't feel that way. Empathize with them. Help them see that their emotions and their feelings are valid, but offer some advice, offer some solutions for someone to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Like, man, yeah, that really stinks. How you're feeling must be awful, and I know I can't experience. I can't begin to understand how you're feeling. But you know, if you look at it this way, offer some sort of advice, some sort of light, so that they can be hopeful for the future.
Yeah, that's really helpful to have that encouragement. And you know, sometimes just having somebody sit with you and just listen is just as powerful as offering words. The
point of this, like we said, is just to open up the dialogue about mental health in general. You know, I'm a teacher, she's a social worker, and you know, you wouldn't believe how prevalent mental health issues are in our country and in society, in the world. So let's open up the dialogue about it. You probably know somebody that you know what? There's probably somebody in your immediate family that is dealing with anxiety or depression that you don't even know about. Open up the dialogue. Don't be ashamed if you're living with a mental health issue. Don't be ashamed. It's part of who you are.
Just like it's nobody's fault that they're diabetic, it's no one's fault that they have depression.
It's not their fault. It's just it's a disease. So open up the dialogue. Don't be ashamed of it. Share it with people. Find a community that you can share it with. Right. Even if you are the person that does not have a mental health issue, but you're living with somebody, you need to have a support system as well. But that'll do it for today, guys, for this vlog. If you have any other specific questions about anything that we talked about, feel free to leave us a comment down below. Kristin's email will be linked up. My email will be linked up if you want to reach out individually to us in private. And as always, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Hope this video could help you out or somebody out. Make it a great day. Remember that you have a gift to share with the world, so share it. And remember, you are worth it. See you tomorrow.